Welcome to New Entry Wrestling Podcast, baby. Welcome back to New Entry Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Sexy Ian. With my, not my co-host, Force of Habit, but with my special guest, Chris, the Career Killer Miller. What it do, baby?
Hey, what's happening, everybody? I'm glad to be here. My name is the Career Killer, Chris Miller. How's everybody doing tonight?
What's up, Miller? It's been a minute.
Yeah, I know. It's been a long time, man. I haven't seen you forever.
I think the last time you and me hanged out was 2015 with Colin Smith, right? Haven't said that name in a long time.
Long time, yeah. It's been a long time.
We met up at the Pyramid Club, right? Right there in Addison.
No, I think it was Niles West. Because it was I tagged with Colin, you tagged with
that was the last time
Johnny.
we wrestled. Yeah. I'm saying hanging out as like friends, just getting something to eat.
Oh yeah, you know what? I think it was the Pyramid Club, yeah.
Yeah, that was the Pyramid. Yeah. So that was in 2015. The Niles West was 2013, right?
Yeah, when we wrestled, I was only a year in.
Yeah.
So definitely.
That was in 2012. And 10 years later, you just hit your 10-year anniversary, right? As an indie wrestler.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Yeah. It feels really great, man. I've wrestled all kinds of names. I've wrestled all kinds of promotions. I've only wrestled in 3 different states. I've wrestled just about everybody. I've won championships. I've had some really, really incredible matches. So just for 10 years to be in this business, man, it feels really great. And sometimes some of the newer comers at CSW are, coming to me asking me for help and advice and stuff too. So it's really good sometimes to give back to people.
Right. That's great because we both. Well, I started a year before you, but in CSW, we started at the same time. So it's it's great to know that somebody from that class is still in it, and so obviously I'm proud of you, man. That's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, because I was just thinking the other, I think the last couple of days I was telling because I still work with Boss. I work out with Boss still. Steve Boss is still like working out with me and stuff like that. But I was thinking to myself, like, everybody I started with is gone. It's like, no, everybody that I started with. Yeah, I'm like, I feel like I'm like the last outlaw left.
Yeah. Hey, but I'm impressed because how you started, how you were just like everybody, green. You look like a person that
it was.
You look like you weren't gonna fit in. You look like you weren't gonna be there for long term, but you kept changing characters. You were trying to find somebody. Because I remember when you first started, you did the Sonic gimmick.
Oh my god. Oh my god! I can't believe that's just a character I made off the wrestling game.
Yeah, the hairspray. You were half blue and half red.
The character was Prism.
Oh, that's the mask gimmick too. Yeah.
Yeah, I went with the hair, and then I went with the mask, and then after that I started tagging with Colin. After that, that's when Colin came in.
Yeah, and then and then eventually you started doing the whole "It's Miller Time" gimmick, right?
Yeah, I actually no. Before the Miller Time, it was Mr. 2 Days.
Oh, that was right, Mr. 2 Days. Because
I was Mr. 2 Days for Mr. 2 Days for like maybe 6 months, and then it's funny how the Miller Time thing came up too, because I was wrestling. I forgot where I was wrestling at, and the crowd just chanted Miller Time, whatever. So then I just went with the Miller Time, Chris Miller.
Oh, so the fans started it for you.
The fans were chanting it before I even got to it. So then after a while, I just went with it, for as long as it went,
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That was a good call then. I saw the tights where you had the Miller. It's Miller Time on your tights too, on the side of the leg. So, but no, that's cool.
I still have all that. I still have all that stuff too.
The question is, does it still fit?
I don't know. I put them on. I think the last time I put those tights on was probably 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. So not that long.
Yeah.
Dude,
So,
you got to do like a Royal Rumble and come out as your old gimmicks, switch it up.
oh yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, that's pretty. Yeah.
so you're basically majority of your I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but majority of your titles, your title wins, they're all tag teams.
Yeah, I've got about four tag titles. I won a battle royal title, and then I won another championship with another character that I currently use that I'm using tomorrow.
Oh, okay,
So yeah,
that's cool.
so I won but I actually five tag titles because I'm a four-time tag champion at CSW. I won a IWA title for John Box show up south, and then I won the battle royal title at Global when Mitch and Braun were doing their thing, whatever. So
And who are your tag team? Are you current the tag team? You're not the. Are you the current tag team champion for
no,
CS?
we just lost them last month to the Dope Kings.
Okay. And then who's your
Yeah,
tag team partner? Is that Cody James?
yeah. Cody James started like he's probably almost maybe 2 years in the business now. I kind of like was working with the guy and stuff like that. I kind of like they put me up with him. Like we've had some matches and other promotions and stuff like that. So I've been really kind of been mentoring the guy,
Oh, okay.
working with him a lot more and stuff like that. And then we became a tag team, and we tag pretty much everywhere now. Everywhere we wrestle for like maybe 3 or 4 different companies now.
And then he's the one who was your tag team partner, or he's the one who you lost the tag titles with, right?
Yes. Yep.
And what's your current tag team name?
Or CNC Destruction.
Destruction. And now is that everywhere, or it's just CSW?
No, that's everywhere. We
That's
wrestle
everywhere.
for 4 to 5 different companies.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Trying
cool.
to get we're trying to get because like they were trying CSW. What we originally started in CSW. How it originally started was him and I were feuding. We feuded for like almost a year,
Oh, wow.
and then they decided to put us together. And then when we became a team, like they didn't just like they wanted our look to be more because we're brawlers. We're brawlers. We're not wrestlers. We're brawlers. You know,
Right.
we go out there, we fight. We don't give a shit about nothing. We just go and we fight. That's it. So, but like, and we made T-shirts and stuff like that too. But then him and I decided, like, do we want to just do this here? Or we want to go everywhere because now I think about it, there's a lot of companies that don't have tag team wrestlings or they don't have women wrestlers. So I said, why not? So I figure another company can use a tag team, so let's take it somewhere. So far, 4 to 5 companies are using us now.
That's good. And that's a start.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So hey,
that's
it
four.
works.
Now, is that four companies that you weren't even working when you were a single wrestler?
I was.
Oh, so you were.
A couple of them I was. I just recently started working with Crash Tested Wrestling back in last year in May, and originally I was just only getting booked. He originally wanted to book me there, but then I offered, hey, I got a tag partner if you need a tag team. At first he didn't want to come; he just wanted me. But then he had come to a CSW show and saw how he worked, and then right away he come up to both of us, hey, I want you both. So
Okay. Well, that's good.
we work, and then I work for another new company that Jimmy Blaze just recently started too. It's Damage Pro Wrestling,
Okay.
whatever. We had a tag match against Masada actually.
Oh, nice. How'd
Yeah,
that
so we
go?
just recently pretty good actually. It wasn't that bad. Cody got busted open, but he
So
asked for it.
not a lot of people do. But let's go back. Let's try to rewind all this. What made
Okay.
you decide to be a pro wrestler?
I mean, I just remember one day my uncle and my grandfather they were watching it, and I didn't know what they were watching. I came in, they were just watching wrestling, whatever. I forgot what it was. I remember it was. I think I saw the Road Warriors on there, and that's like the first kind of. I forgot who they wrestled. I think they were doing a tag team battle royal. And then after since then, I just been watching it. I watched it every Monday, every Thursday or Friday. I became a really big fan of it. I really got hooked on it. Probably one of my favorite two wrestler, obviously my all-time favorite wrestler is Kurt Angle because I never seen that guy ever have a bad match with anyone.
Right.
So then I just I wanted to really this is, I let the critics get to me because I was, people go out there, they say it's fake and stuff like that when it's really not. So I didn't really, for a while, I like other people were doing what they wanted to do and I wasn't. But then I was like, fuck it. I'm not going to give a crap anymore. I went and did it. So then finally I just, like, I had a friend of mine, I don't see him anymore, but like he was doing it at my job. He was doing it for like a month. And then immediately I went up to him, hey man, give me the information. And then that's how I really got into it. But I've always wanted to do it. I've always had a passion for wrestling. I remember the very first show I went to, I forgot, Boz wrestled Ali actually. And there was a few other matches too. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching all these guys. I'm thinking, can I really fucking do this? But it all takes is practice, really it is. So,
Right.
but like, it was definitely the right decision. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah. Like it's very impressive that you did it for 10 years and I only did it for like 3 or 4 years. But like actual wrestling, it was only like 2 years, like in front of a crowd, it was only 2 years. But even doing
Mm-hmm.
practice, it was like I still enjoyed it. Like at least I could
Yeah,
say and look back and say, I did it. I didn't go
yeah,
far,
yeah,
but I did it. And I
exactly.
wrestled and I was a referee. I refereed Scotty Too Hottie, Raven, all these big names where it's like, okay, I didn't have that as a bucket list, but now, I cross it off.
Yeah.
Um, but going back to besides Kurt Angle, who else is your favorite wrestler, or who else did you look up to?
Another guy I looked up to was always The Rock, because like when I first came in, I watched some of the old stuff, but I didn't really watch. I really was into the Attitude Era stuff. I've been watching a lot of. I probably didn't start watching it until probably like '99,
Right,
2000, and I just and like back then, when you're young, I didn't know any better, but Rock was the big guy. He was the man at the time, main guy. So I really, really looked up to The Rock. He was definitely the biggest fan favorite there was. So like besides him, and there was also Stone Cold as well. The two big names right there. But like I always was a big fan of The Rock because like that guy could just pretty much do anything as well.
right.
So him, Kurt Angle, Stone Cold, So but I definitely enjoyed watching those guys a lot.
That's good. That's a good option. I mean, got a good option. Good choices. Going back
Yeah.
to the Steve Boz versus Ali, who is now a current WWE superstar, which is pretty dope because it's like he wrestled in CSW and then so how long after that match or after that show, how long was it after you signed up for training?
I actually signed up the night before. I actually did sign up because the show was a Friday and practice was that Thursday. So I did join before the show started. I
Oh, okay.
remember me and the Archangel, me and him started the same time together. Actually, we came in, but we didn't get in the ring. I already see how I did it was when I contacted Boz. I said, hey, my name is Chris Miller. I want to become a professional wrestler. I want to get training as soon as possible. He told me what I needed. I prepared myself. I was already set. He told me what I needed. I went out to Sports Authority, got all my stuff. He told me how much I needed. I had that. I came a day early to see where it was. So when I come Thursday, I don't get lost. So I
Right.
prepared myself. So then when I came in, he asked me, are you here to watch or here to do it? I said, I'm here to do it. So he gave me the waiver. I gave him the money. I signed, and that was it. And then I didn't get. I did two bumps, but like I did the basic lockups and stuff.
Right. Which
And I
you
remember
always do.
watching. And then I always came there. I was always prepared, and like I knew what to expect it to because another guy too, Willie Richardson was another guy that also mentored me a lot. And he said it too a lot. He said if you can make it to a practice, you can make it to a show. I said also too, you gotta learn to take a hit in the business because yes, it's wrestling, but you can get tagged. I've been tagged. I gotten hit so many damn times, So, but I always prepared myself for it. I was always a step ahead of myself. So then when I went to the show, I watched all the matches. I was like, oh, this is some really good. That was probably one of the good shows I've seen first time. So,
That's cool.
but yeah,
It's funny how you mentioned Willie, but we'll talk about him later on.
yeah.
Uh, so when you got to the ring, um, for example, for me, I'd be talking a lot about myself. um, when I wanted to be a wrestler, but my mindset was, I want to be a referee. That's like, I want to be a referee. And then if I become a wrestler, that's more later on. But then because of the school, they're like, it's not much of a difference. So, and then when I finally became a character, I mean, a wrestler, I was just like, I don't have a gimmick. Now, it was that clearly because I was there with you. Was that your issue as well? Where it's like, did you already had a character coming into this business, or you were just like, I'm just here to wrestle, and then I'll try to figure it
I mean,
out later on?
I mean, first thing, well, it's funny too because I didn't have a character. When I was ready to wrestle, I waited for them to tell me to start getting gear. That's basically. I remember. I didn't start. I actually didn't. I didn't wrestle for a show. I practiced for 6 months before I actually got on a show,
Right.
and I was just there to wrestle. I mean, yeah, I had to figure out a character because there was like, I mean, it's not like a lot of people. It's not just about coming in doing some moves. It's way more than that. You got to think about what you are, what you want to do, and like all that stuff. So like when at the time I was only there to wrestle at the time, I didn't think of a character because I didn't think I was ready. I remember there was a practice where the guy I mentioned earlier, Willie, and another guy, the promoter, they both said, "Chris, start looking for gear." So
Mhm.
then I started looking for like some random stuff, whatever, stuff that just looked decent, whatever, and then that was it. And then I just started, and then from there is when I had a few shows until I started finding the character, which was the character with the face paint crap, or I'm sorry, the hair gimmick.
Do you have pictures of it? I need to post it on
I
my podcast.
I don't have, what my old Facebook was actually hacked, whatever. All my old stuff is on that one,
Ah,
and
damn.
I grabbed what I could, but like all my old stuff is on that thing, whatever. I might be able to pull up maybe some old matches, maybe, but I don't know. But I remember it's funny too because when I thought of the character, I was stupid. I the character that I used was the character I made off the wrestling game, whatever. And I tried to use it, and not a lot of guys liked it. There were a lot of people shit on it. I remember when I stopped using the character, um, I never really was. I mean, I never had an issue with Nick Color. A lot of people always had issues with the guy, but
Mhm.
like he said the moment I stopped using, he called it a Spider-Man gimmick. He
Right.
says, just once you stop that gimmick, I had respect for you. And I was like, oh, okay, well, thanks. I mean, now I think about it, it was just probably one of the most dumbest things I've ever done.
I love Nick
But I mean,
Color.
I
He's
mean,
honest. He's brutally honest.
he's honest to yeah. I never, like
Uh,
I said, I've heard bad stories about the guy because he talked down, but he never done that to me. I mean, him and I we always were hanging out at the part after the parties drinking. So
yeah. Oh yeah, I drank with him before, and I think it's his voice. It's his voice
yeah,
when he talks. It sounds like he's just being honest, but he has that like
yeah,
he sounds rude. His
yeah,
tone, his tone of his voice
yeah,
sounds rude when he talks. Um, but so yeah, because when you mentioned the video game, that's where I got the gimmick, my gimmick name when I was a referee, Ian Cage. That's where I got it from.
yeah,
I don't remember which video game, but it was from the WWE. I know I
yeah,
remember it was still SmackDown versus Raw. That's all I remember. Um, what about, so you mentioned him earlier, the Archangel. When he came into this business, he wanted to be like something similar to the Undertaker. So did you had
hmm
something like that as well, or it was just once again you just didn't know what you were going into the business?
I didn't really know what I was going. I mean, I was just learning the moves. I was taking it step by step. I was learning the
Right.
moves. I mean, yeah, I was a quick learner because when Boss and Willie, they're teaching. I didn't say nothing. I was just watching how they did it.
Right.
There's some people today. When he's taught, there people are just jaw jacking. They're not getting it right. But me, I sat there and I watched how he did it, and I did exactly how that. But like, I didn't like. I mean, I tried. I mean, when I first started, I mean, you've seen me. I tried to be like the athletic flying guys,
You try to
the
be like Eddie
springboard.
Guerrero.
I was not very good at that. I was not good at that. I tried it. I mean, it's what's weird is I can do the springboard in practice, no problem. The
Right.
shows, I either clinch or the ropes, or I get my legs give out, or I'm just nervous and screwing up. Either, you know,
Right.
like because when I first started wrestling, I was focusing on getting through the match, not having fun and stuff like that. And so like, but I mean, if you, I guess you could say I tried to be like a flying guy, but obviously that was not my style. I
No.
remember the one time I've done only 3 springboards. The first one I nailed right. After that first 2, I go in the back and Willie goes, Chris, what? Don't do that again. And after that, I stopped it.
I remember oh my god, I forgot what's it called. I remember you and me had a match one time and it was a tag team match. And I was outside and you jumped over the rope. But instead of your full body for me to catch you, it was more of your head and shoulder that came at me first. And we just like
Yeah,
collapsed together. And
yeah,
I
I was,
it was your timing. Your timing was off, or your legs was like, nope. But your body said,
yeah,
the
or
rest of your body said
I,
yes. It was just horrible. I was like,
I
it
don't know.
was
I just,
all, and you done it before during practice, and it was, oh, okay, I got you, easy. That's how we do it. But then in
it's it.
front of the
That's what I'm saying. Like the
fans,
practice, it's like, yeah, like I said, like I could do it no problem at the show, at practice. The shows is, I don't know if I'm getting stage fright or whatever, but like, but actually, I've actually been a lot better. Like if I do anything, I'll do.
just lost them. You
Okay,
there? All
here we go.
right, lost you
Yep, you're
there.
all right. Yep, I know. Oh yeah.
All right. But yeah, like no, I get it. When it comes to practice, it's easy. Because I was able to do
Yeah.
the springboard into a leg drop. Get you
Hmm.
right here on the chest. Perfect. You're safe. You're protected. And then when people are looking for a match, I land on the person's face.
Yeah.
Booty to face. I was like, oh, never doing that again. Well, it was just one cheek that landed on the dude's face.
Yeah. I remember the one time, like I think the first time we wrestled, we did a tag match. You used the Skeletor gimmick, whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember for we tagged and we did an opening spot where your mask got messed up on you, and I'm like, because you're fixing the
Oh,
mask, and I'm like,
yeah.
I'm standing like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Like so I'm like, fuck, let me just go grab him.
Yeah, that kind of sucked. I was just like, oh, okay, already into the match. And I was like,
Because you're like playing with the mask, and it's like it's going on 5 seconds. Like, okay, let me go grab him.
yeah.
Because
It's a good thing you did, because normally, because it sucks because when it's something like that happens, and when you have two baby faces facing each other, you're just like, I
yeah,
don't know what to do. But when you're a heel, it's
yeah,
just like, oh, I'm just gonna go ahead and attack them. So,
yeah.
but go ahead and play dirty. But no, but it was good. And,
Hmm.
and plus, it was like, yeah, it was a little botch incident, but it was just like it took what 2 or 3 seconds to
it
recover.
was exactly, yeah,
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad. But I remember that match perfectly, man. Like I remember how like we were talking about like how should we end the match, and then I was just like, hey, I have an idea if you guys want to like listen. And then you guys were just like, yeah, sure, we'll hear you out. And I told you guys the spots, and then you guys were just like, yo, that's dope. That is a good
mm,
ending. So, and we're
yeah,
like, oh, I was like, oh, after the first shot, all right, cool. I was like, all right, and we did it, and everybody did their part perfectly. And
yeah,
I remember, that was great, and I enjoyed the match as well. And we had and we were
yeah.
the
It was
opening show, and the fans went crazy.
yeah, we were. It was best, definitely a good night too. I remember. I think there was a steel cage that night too. But yeah,
Was there a steel cage?
but yeah,
Oh yeah, there
yeah. I
was a
think it was
steel cage.
Nick
Yeah,
Cutler. It was Nick Cutler, River Manson against Devil Dog and Colin Cambridge.
yeah,
Because I
yeah.
think they were the final four in the battle. Because there was a battle royal right after our match.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. You're right. I forgot about the cage
Yeah,
because I keep thinking the main event was Marche Rockets versus Mr. 450. I keep thinking that was the
yeah,
main
but
event.
Yeah, and you got frog splashed on, didn't you?
Yeah, I was the referee for that match.
I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah, because Marshy landed on you and he just moved and you took it.
Yeah, I just took that frog splash from him. Yeah. And
Yeah,
now Mr. 450, I forgot what his gimmick is, but he's in
yeah.
NWA now. Oh, so
Oh,
is
okay.
Marshall Rockets. They're both in NWA.
Yeah, they both are. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
Oh, that's dope. I just realized that. Thank you for reminding me
yeah.
that. So I ref two wrestlers who are now in NWA. Same thing with Ali.
Yeah,
So cool. I ref didn't realize how many people I ref. So
yeah. That's the only guy I actually have. I did not. I actually didn't wrestle Ali in CSW.
I think he
I think
was. When did he get signed with WWE? Was that
he didn't get signed. He didn't
2018?
get signed for. He didn't get signed for a couple of years, but I remember that watching that first show with him and Boz. I remember he got fired that night because he said something to a fan, and I remember he got fired. So I didn't see him for a couple of years after that. And
Really?
then when he came back, he was just. And then when he came back, it's like I mean, when he came back, I was still kind of new. I remember
Mhm.
he was at a couple of fusion shows, whatever, but I never really worked with him. I never like did nothing with him. I
Yeah,
never.
yeah,
He came
Fusion.
to like a couple of practices, maybe that was it.
I
I
saw
think I
him
might have done.
twice, but he wasn't there to train. He was just out. He was just there.
I think I did like one practice match with him. I think I gave him the angle slam. I think. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
yeah,
Yeah. But I do remember he was in Fusion. I refed his matches. I was supposed to wrestle him, but then they ended up changing the card, and he ended up facing some guy named Sonny Siego or something like that.
yeah.
Uh, and then I don't remember. I think I ended up facing backwoods. So I forgot his name. I literally just forgot
Brown.
his name. Backwoods Brown, is that his name?
Yeah, big
Yeah.
dude. Yeah,
Yeah. And so I ended up facing him. So I was like, hey, ended up having a great match. So and then Ali got mad at Sonny because when he gave him a power bomb, he spiked him in the head. So
I heard that. Yeah, no, it was he Ali power bombed him though for the finish because he almost landed on his head. But I remember he gave him like a reverse DDT and he landed on his head or something like that. Because I remember
oh,
he coming back. He come in the back yelling. I think I wrestled Boz that night too at Fusion.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So Sonny spiked him with the DDT then on
it was
Ali.
because he did a reverse DDT and he said that he landed on his head. And when I watched the match, I saw him trying to swing at Sonny, whatever. But then when he power bombed him, he looked like Sonny landed on his head on giving it. So I guess whatever. But yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that because then he come in the back and he yelled at Sonny for that, something like that.
Gotta be professional.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So all right. Going back. So I forgot what I was gonna ask. Um when did the whole um like the whole gimmick change when you went from the because you went from the blue and red gimmick, the character, to teaming up with Collins, right? How long did you guys team
Yeah,
up with? Like, how long were you guys a tag team?
we tagged for 3 years.
3 years.
We tagged
Wow.
for 3 years, and I remember we won the tag belt too. So like I started probably January in 2012. He didn't come until May. So how we became a tag team was just because they kept pairing us up at practice every time. Him and I tagged every time. So basically, we worked on our chemistry before we got out there.
Right.
So then I remember. So then every Tuesday, every Thursday, they would put us together and we would just start working on moves. We like I remember like we would like build an arsenal, whatever. We try to get some moves together because Colin was he now Colin's his favorite character. His favorite guy was always Jeff Hardy. He liked to
Right.
do
I
all.
remember
He's
that.
also I remember he's also a gymnastic, so it's easy for him to do all that shit.
Yeah.
So then I let him do all the flying stuff, and I just did the power stuff. And I remember the first we got our first tag match was against the Polish Crippler. That was our
Oh,
very
yeah,
first
yeah, yeah,
tag
yeah.
the
I
very
remember
our very
that.
first tag match, we got the crap beaten out of us. And then I remember we went from we wrestled a lot of guys. We wrestled the Soul Touches. We wrestled Elite Pain. Like, we got our butts kicked a lot from a lot of them.
I
But
bet.
I remember we tagged for 3 years, and we won the tag belts back in, I think, 2015 or one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we won the belts, whatever. We were tag champions for about 3 to 4 months, and then he left. He left the wrestling business for a bit.
And this was during the tag team run, or you guys dropped the belts and then he left?
We had the belts for maybe like 3-4 months, and then he left, and then we dropped the belts. Or we dropped the belts, then he left because he got a job somewhere else.
Right.
And basically, then I started my single career.
So you were always a tag team. So basically, you started as just like a jobber kind of deal, and then you went from a tag team, and then you started your single run, and then that's when you started doing, like, eventually you started doing the whole it's Miller time, right? Or were you still doing the Mr. Tuesday nights?
I was
or two days.
Right, maybe like the last 5 shows. I'm sorry, maybe like the last 5 matches that we had done together, me and Colin. I was the Miller time, Chris Miller, because I remember my gear looked like, it had the Miller time on. I had the best and stuff like that. So I remember maybe like the last 5 shows we did together I was the Miller time, and then he left, and then I was by myself for a while.
And then how long until you? Oh no, go ahead.
Eventually, he had come back, but he hadn't come back for a while. I remember I did a single career for a little bit, and then he had come back. We did a couple of tag matches, and then he was gone again.
Yeah.
So,
well, I love Collins, but he's doing pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing okay. Right.
Yeah. Himself. I know he had his dark clouds, but it's all shiny in the moment. But I remember he was bouncing back and forth in wrestling, which nothing is wrong with that. At least he was able to do that. I can't do that. Yeah. So, but then eventually you ended up having a feud with Cody James, right?
No, that didn't come in for a while. My first feud. Let's see. I had not right away because my big first feud was with Willie.
Let's talk about Willie then. Let's talk about him.
Because my big first. So Willie is pretty much made me who I am today. Actually, he's the reason why I am what I am now. But before we had this big feud, it was.
Oh, hold on. Before you continue, is he the reason why you turned heel?
Yes, we were already heels. When him and I tagged, we were heels already. I turned heel when Colin had come back. When Colin came back, we were heels, but I wasn't that big heel yet.
You didn't have a big heel turn. You just turned heel.
I didn't turn heel. One show was baby. Next thing I'm heel. I'm like, okay. So, but then Willie decided to let me tag with Chris. So then him and I tag. We were the 2.0 2-man power trip.
Right.
That's what we call it. We were out there. We beat the crap out. Like we had about maybe a 3-month tag. We didn't win the tag belts, but we tagged for about a good 3 months, and then our very last show at EPI, it was me. I actually was a good heel. It was the biggest heel against the biggest baby, me versus Steve Oz, and we blew that place out the proportion. And how the feud started was because Willie was managing me that night, and Boz was getting ready to go for the super kick, whatever, and Willie had grabbed his leg, and then Boz punched him. So I hit Boz, and I went to go check on Willie, but Willie thought it was Boz, and he whacked me on accident. Oh. I turned into the twist of fate. That's how the feud started. And we've had all kinds of fucking matches, and that's how our big feud became. We've had like last man standing matches, we've had lumberjack matches, whatever. But like, him and I, we've had good chemistry with. Me and Willie, my match with him was like passing of the torch, kind of thing. because like our last big match was like it was a lumberjack loser leaves the show, whatever, and I ended up winning that night, and that's how I became the career killer. Because because I ended one career. That's basically how that started.
Right.
Whatever. But I remember going to the locker room that night. He tells me like, one thing I need from you, Chris, is I need you when you're ready to step down. You need to be like basically when it's my time to pass the torch to somebody else. Believe in someone like he believed in me.
Right.
So, but like he really pushed me to the limit. He really, he made me, like I said, he made me who I am today. So,
Well, that's good. That was nice of him to pass the torch to you. And
yeah,
then you're eventually you're gonna have your time to pass the torch to him to somebody else.
yeah,
So
yeah,
now at least now you have kind of like a goal where it's like where I'm at in my career, I want to be somebody like Willie, where it's
yeah,
like I want to, obviously it's up to you, but to like do what Willie did for me to take it to
yeah,
that next level. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool of him to do. Gotta ask,
exactly. Yeah.
how was the finish of that match?
Oh, the finish was so. You know who Faith is, right? The girl that comes out with him, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She's like the little black lady.
Yes.
So there was this, now I'm gonna talk about the spot real quick that we did in the match because I knew that it was probably the biggest pop of that night because Willie went outside. It was a lumberjack match. It was a lumberjack match. Loser leaves the show. He had hit me with the flying elbow drop off the top rope. I was going into a tag team with Jack Moody at that time. Him and I were starting to form a tag team together, and he was out there, and he pulled him out. And Willie beat up. He did a thing. He did a spot where he hit all the lumberjacks. I nailed him from behind, and then I grabbed Faith and I threw her in the ring, whatever. And everybody got up off the seats, whatever. I grabbed her by the throat, and then she kicked me in the nuts and hit me with the DT, and the place went crazy.
Nice.
Fucking blew up. I swear. And I was so proud of myself because I called that. I felt like I knew that was gonna get a pop. And then I got up and then she slapped me in the face again. And then I put her in the sharpshooter. And then Willie had taken me off of her. He was gonna so then when he threw me off, he went to go check on her and Jack Moody threw me in a steel chain, whatever. So then he went to go whip me off for the his pounce and I hit him with the steel chain 1, 2, 3.
Oh, nice. I like that. I visualized it. That's what's cool about it.
Yeah,
That's really cool. That's dope. Like just
yeah, that was a
hearing it as a spot is like that's really good. That's a good ending. And
yeah,
you
that was
guys
a very
actually
good
did do it.
finish. Yeah, that was definitely a match. I every once in a while I'll go back on YouTube and I'll watch that. And our last man standing match too, because our last man standing was very violent too. So
So well, hopefully I could get those copy try to send me a link of
yeah.
those video and I could put it down in this description. That way people
Okay,
could go
cool.
and check it out. Um
Yeah.
so and then from there you went from the Chris career killer Miller and then
Yeah.
you were still as a single run or did you ended up going into the tag team?
I went with the tag team with Jack. Like I said, as soon as I had finished Willie, I formed a tag team with Jack Moody, and then our manager was Jazz Moretti, and we tagged for a little bit. We won the tag bouts. That's when I became a 2-time tag champion, and then we were tag champions for a bit, and then I remember we lost the belt to the Bruise Brothers, Boz and TJ Steele, and then after that I started my single career again. But like right around in between the time that I was tagging with Moody, that's when Cody kind of had come in. But
Okay.
he was but I remember he was still kind of new, kind of green. I was working with him. I worked with him a couple of shows. I worked with him at a Northland show. And then we just like I remember him and I did like a 3-month program too where we wrestled. I beat him, he beat me. And then actually what happened was we had a 3-month feud, then we were going to start a tag team, but then after we had our last match the whole pandemic hit, whatever, we were
Uh,
so we were done for a bit, So then when we returned back in August, him and I did a show in Lake in the Hill, a street fight, whatever, which I had to leave for a couple of shows where he had beat me, and then it was a Halloween show. It was a couple of shows, and then I was off the show for a couple of shows, and then I remember it was a Halloween show where Cody had went to go save the Bruise Brothers, and then a mysterious person comes out in a Michael Myers costume, and
Right.
then so that those people are looking at each other, and then he clotheslines them, the Bruise Brothers, and I take the mask off, and it was me. Whatever.
Nice.
After we had just did we did pretty much like a 4 or 5 month feud, and when they saw me, I swear they were like, "What the hell? Are you kidding me? You mean to tell me he just?" And then we beat the hell out of the Bruise Brothers, and then that's how we became a tag team, whatever. And like we tagged for at least almost over a year now, but like we were the most dominant tag team ever. Like I will say Cody's probably the second person. I didn't really nothing against Jack Moody, but I didn't really have that chemistry like I had with him and Colin. Because Colin, I had good chemistry with Colin. I have good chemistry with Cody.
All right.
Because like after I started my single career after he had left Colin, I said, don't just put me up with anybody. I want to like build the chemistry with him. He had another guy I didn't mention too, Brad Kevins, whatever. Him and I were tagging for like a little bit when Colin would not be at a show, whatever. But like, don't just tag me with anybody. Let me start a single career for a little bit. But I remember but me and Cody always had that good chemistry together. Like I helped him. I actually made him who he is today because of me, whatever. I kind of mentored him a little bit.
That's
So,
good.
but
When did the whole sledgehammer came out?
oh, so I always used this. Like I remember with the sledgehammer, so like one of my first street fights I ever had, I remember going to Menards and I remember buying that, but that was a while back ago. But I remember like I'm thinking like, what can I do like to make our our team more interesting, whatever. And I had the sledgehammer because I've used it a couple of times when it was just regular. And so basically, how I was able to use it permanently was when another link I'm going to have to send you was when the Bruise Brothers versus the CNC in the tag team elimination tables match. Very, very, very violent match, by the way. And the finish was me pulling the sledgehammer out, hitting Boz with it, and putting him through the table. And then because I asked the promoter now, who's the promoter now, I said, can I use the sledgehammer? He said, yeah. And I said, I have a very good idea, whatever. And because my name is, I spell career with a K. So I
Right.
figured, what name can I use? And I thought Christine would be great because it's a K. I spell it with a K as well.
Right.
And the way I modified it, I made it my own. Like when the thing about me is when if I have the okay to do something to where I'm okay to do anything I want, I will take time and I will make it my own. Like the sledgehammer, like people think because it's like how Triple H used to use it. No, I make the sledgehammer my own, whatever. And basically, how I use it is like because you know how like on Walking Dead how Negan would talk to the bat. That's basically
Oh
how
yeah,
I am
yeah,
with
yeah.
Chris
Okay,
with the
okay,
sledgehammer.
okay.
So
That's
that's how
cool.
I kind of got that. I got that idea from that part, whatever, and I just named it Christine. So I basically, when I come out with it, I'm talking to it, I'm petting it like it's a girl, whatever, and
Like
people are
Al
looking at me
Snow
like,
with his head.
yeah, exactly. So it's weird, it's funny too. So, but like that's how. So when I come out with that, I love. So it was supposed to be black. It wasn't supposed to be white, but they didn't have any black tape.
Okay.
Whatever. But it looks good the way I have it. So,
Right.
and then I put CNC on the top of the head.
Yeah, and you made it
Part. So
work. So
I made it my own and stuff like that. So it's great.
you
So
made you made it into a character, which is cool.
yeah,
It's not just it's
hmm
just there. It's like it's part of your gimmick now.
yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. And I'm allowed, and not just CSW. I take it everywhere now. I come out with it, and people are like, and again, I like it too because it's the people are like, what is he doing? Is he crazy or whatever? It's like, yeah, cause I come out with it. I start like kissing it and shit. Like I'll just be talking so sexually to it.
have you ever got pulled over and a
So
cop
and then
seen
when
that
people,
sledgehammer?
No, absolutely not. They have not, and I don't think they would mind too because I have wrestling stuff in here. They'll see what it is.
Right.
I think they'll be more concerned of the alcohol that I have here, but yeah.
Oh,
So, but
geez.
I was that's probably one of my greatest creations. But yeah,
That's good. And 10 years in the
yeah,
business and you're still learning and you're still trying to find yourself. And
yeah,
that's what's great about wrestling because Chris Jericho, he's been wrestling for over 30 years and his character is always changing.
yeah.
So you can't be the same character all the time. I mean, you could, it works for some people, but not for everybody.
Not everybody like the character I am now because like another guy you mentioned him already, Marshe Rocket. He's definitely a good guy to go to for advice. I will
Right.
100%, man. The guy. Now, when I first started wrestling, I don't know why he did it, but every time you were there at some of the shows, he would always be in the gorilla position watching my match every time. I never know why he did that, but every time I would come in the back, he would always tell me what I did, what I could have done, what I should not have been doing. He always critiqued me every time, and that was like for a while. Like my one goal, I don't have like a lot of guys have goals to become champion. Yeah, I get it. My goal was to get a chance to wrestle everybody, get a chance to
Right.
get at least wrestle once. And Marche was one of the guys that came last because I never got a chance to wrestle him. But like but some people ask me, "You think you're ready to wrestle him yet?" After I wrestled him that very first match, right before I did that last man standing with Willie, he was the Metro champion. I wrestled him. That was the right definitely one of the best matches I ever had. I wrestled Marche probably three times now, and every time I wrestled him, he really, really brought it to me. He really made my character how it is because he said, "You're not the wrestler, be the brawler. Don't be the wrestler, be the brawler."
Right.
I have to. He says I have to bring the fight to you because I'm not going to out wrestle you. You can out wrestle me, but you're not about wrestling. You're all about fighting. So Marche, he used to always sit there and watch my match all the time, and I was like, wow. So, and he used to always tell me what about my character, like do this, do less. So I remember the very first match in my very first match at Crash Tested Wrestling. Him and I were the main event of that show, and we tore the house down that show, man. I always love working that man.
That's cool.
So
The times that you faced him, how many times he went over?
every time. But I didn't. Well, I don't know if you're ever going to ask me about the other character that I use, but I'm 2-2 against him with me and with my other character.
What other character?
Another character, his name he is called Metalhead.
Metalhead. Oh, this is the one that
I don't know if you.
you're gonna beat
I'm
tomorrow.
using him. I'm using him tomorrow. If you, I don't know if you've seen the Northland posters yet.
North.
It's the
No,
for the show.
no.
Cody's in the middle of it, but I I have my he's on I have it I have an Instagram page too of him. But basically, Metalhead's beaten Marche twice, and I have lost against him twice. Whatever. But like how I made that character was like I remember buying the mask. I go on Amazon and I'm just buying stuff I don't need, and I saw that mask for like
Like
$10.
everybody in the world.
I saw that mask for $10, and another guy who I work for, Mitch Blake, I very very stiff, snug worker. I will say he chopped me in the back and busted my back open. But I remember when he ran global, he was telling me, "No offense, Chris, don't take this the hard way. I don't like your character. He didn't like the Million Time Chris Miller." So he was telling me, try to think of something, try to like figure out what you want a character because he's all about characters. I mean, he's a baseball fury and stuff like that. So I thought, I'm like, you know what? I have that mask. Let me see what I can do with it, you know? So then I invested so much in that character. Like I made it my own. I was a hard time looking for a mask to work in because I couldn't find any masks to wear. I didn't know what to wrestle in and stuff like that.
Right.
That big I have a big trench jacket that cost me like $150, whatever.
Jeez.
But like I remember putting that character together. And so that's basically my baby boy because but that one I don't really get to use that character a lot because like I mean because like there's a character now being used at CSW that's kind of resembling that, whatever. But I remember but Boz lets me use the character at Northland, which is tomorrow.
Okay,
So
that's cool.
because Cody lives out that way. So then I remember so because Cody lives out in Woodstock, so Boz wants him to be like the baby face out there, like because he is out there, he draws out there, whatever.
Right.
So then I told Boswell, I said, you know what? I said, well, then I can't be Chris Miller out there because they're going to know we're a tag team and stuff. So I said, let me use Metalhead then. He says, okay, use Metalhead. So I have absolute control of my matches and who I work. And I remember the big feud I worked over there was TJ Steele because I'm thinking like, who can really? Because how Metalhead is like a serial killer. Don't talk. He's just a big guy.
Right.
Basically, because like it's funny how I say that too, is because that's exactly what Undertaker and Kane did. When I
Right.
watched the Smoking Skull sessions with them both on there, they both said they utilized their character as Michael Myers and Jason. Big guys, don't talk. But when it was time for the kill, it meant something. That's
Right.
basically how I use. That's how Metalhead is, and that's I made him to be my own. I used like my own character, whatever. I one thing I did have to learn was how to wrestle differently because Boz noticed you can't be wrestling like Chris Miller with Meg because you're doing the same moves as Metalhead. So it's like, okay, so then I had to do different things, whatever. So Chris Miller is more of a as a ground pound guy. Metalhead, he's just more like a dominating guy where he just throws people around and stuff. So, but I remember I told Boz, I said, if you're going to have him be a baby, then let me use Metalhead. Then I could use somebody else. So I remember me and TJ Steele, we did a steel chairs match, and we beat the crap out of each other that night. So
Well, that's cool. But yeah, you guys sent me some links and some photos of Metalhead. I put the
yeah,
link in the description. That way people could go check them out. And you said you have an IG page for the Metalhead, right?
yeah,
Oh, all right. Well,
exactly. Yep.
I'm pretty sure I checked them out. I'm pretty sure I saw him. I just probably didn't assume it was you.
I have a fan. Well, my old Facebook account, I made a fan page of it, whatever, but I lost that too because the shit got hacked, so I had to deactivate it and stuff like that too. But I had T-shirts made, I had 8x10s made, but I don't get. I mean, I brought him. So I'll tell you this one quick story real quick. So do you know who Turtle is? He's the referee. His name is Mike Brennan, whatever. But he's a referee.
I probably will have to see him to remember
But
him.
his character's basically he's like a Ninja Turtle, whatever. He's got it like a singlet made with it, and he's supposed to be like the big baby face. So I remember taking that character Metalhead down to South where John Bogg does his shows at, whatever. So I'm supposed to Metalhead can never be he can never be. I never tried to be a baby, but like I said, Metalhead's just straight up heel. He cannot be a baby. So I wrestle Turtle, who is the baby face. So the second I go out there, all these little kids are cheering for me, and I'm the bad guy.
Right.
But because they never seen something like me before, they're all like, "Wow, that is so cool!" And Turtle got fucking booed out the building. So then that night, I knew I was gonna sell my merchandise like crazy. I walked out of there with like $200.
Oh wow.
Not to mention what I made for wrestling too.
That's
So,
good.
but I was like, I made some good money out there. Like that Boss said, that Metalhead's more of a market of character.
True.
So,
And that's why you always need a gimmick.
mm-hmm.
Not always, but a gimmick will work majority of the time.
Exactly.
With the right gimmick, if you play that character right. But that's good, man. Happy for you. Did not knew about Metalhead, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm pretty sure I seen him. Like I said, I just never knew he was you.
Yeah. So, well, that's supposed to be a secret. I don't tell people that's me.
But too late now. Kind of too late now.
I know it's too late now. It's too late now, but they're gonna hear it. They're gonna hear it. But I just tell people that's my cousin.
Well, so yeah, well, that's good. It's good to have multiple characters because, like I said, back then I was a referee and I was a wrestler, but I had a mask, so so it works out, and it's more fun that way too.
It is. It really is.
So
I had to learn how to work in the mask too because I know a lot of guys have to breathe in those things too. So
it's not easy.
It's not.
But people are complaining about wearing masks now, because of what's going on in the pandemic. So
yeah, what's going out there in the world? Yep.
But is there anybody Have you ever wrestled? Because there's a lot of indies that they'll have like a former WWE guy. Is there any former WWE or big names that you wrestled?
I wrestled Buff Bagwell.
Buff Backwell.
It
Oh,
was, it was that was a tag. It was a tag match though. I remember him and I were the last two in the ring, and I wrestled Buff Bagwell. I've been in the battle royal with Bushwhack, but one of the Bushwhackers, whatever.
right,
Um, what else? I wrestled Pat Tanaka actually. He was in a fatal four-way tag match back in June.
okay,
He like an old Japan guy, and I like wrestled like some guys, whatever. And I'm trying to think who else did I wrestle. I remember going to when Blitz was still a thing, whatever.
right,
I
right,
I didn't go like I know so like and the one thing they teach in the business is never to be a mark ever.
right.
I don't ever try to be a mark because they're just like us, you know. But like I remember me, Colin, and Brad, we got booked to go do a Blitz show because they were doing a battle royal, a big battle royal there, and they had a lot of names there. And I'm like I mentioned, my Kurt Angle was my favorite wrestler, and he just so happened to be there. But I didn't go. See, I wasn't gonna be like the guy to go ask for a picture. But once everybody else starting at getting pictures from him, I was like, "Fuck that! I'm doing it now." Because like, y'all gonna do it, so I'm gonna do it now too. And
That's
I have that. I still have that picture saved.
that's good.
So
That's good. And plus, yeah, it's Kurt
yeah,
effing Angle, man. Who would not
come
want to
on.
take a photo with him?
Exactly. Like I didn't go, but I didn't go there because he was there. I went there because I got booked to wrestle. But
Right.
he would. But I remember he go out there doing a. I remember he did a promo segment. But like again, once all the wrestlers were taking pictures, I go, yeah, screw this, I'm taking one now. Don't call me a mark, whatever. I don't care.
You. That's good. It's good thing you have that
So
photo saved too. Because
yeah, I have.
I met Jeff Hardy, and somebody hacked my Facebook account many years ago, and I lost that photo.
Yeah.
Man, and it's a
Wow. I
bummer.
remember I met Little Rey Mysterio too. Actually, he was at one of the. I wrestled at the Cicero Stadium where he was at before he got signed back to WWE. And guys, actually, I started the show. He ended the show.
Oh,
But it was
nice.
cool to actually be in the locker room. It's cool to be in the locker room with some of the guys like that too, though.
Yeah,
So
and it's easy because then you could get to experience how they work the crowd too.
yeah,
And because that's the one thing that's really difficult to get experience in, where it's like, but
mhm,
once you see it and see or even work with them in the ring to experience, like, this is how you work the crowd. And
yep.
that's how you help wrestlers, just to go up there, take it to the next level. Do you still have any goals to accomplish?
Yes, I do actually. I would actually like one accomplish. I mean, like, I'm not like a belt mark, you know, but like, I would like to eventually become the CSW heavyweight champion. I was told that I definitely am now at one of the toppest heels at CSW. Literally go out there, I'm getting booed out the door.
Right.
Seriously. But then another main goal is, you know, I just thought about this goal too, like maybe a couple weeks ago. I actually want to see if I can last 30 years like the Undertaker.
Right.
I want to see if I can actually tie his record 30 years. I think he went longer than 30 years, but anyway, he was only 30 years in the WWF. But I remember he did a couple of years in probably WCW and stuff like that.
Right.
But I want to be able to see if I can go as long as I can with it. Like there are some names up there I still have yet to wrestle. Like I never wrestled Brubaker. We did a tag match recently, but like in singles matches, I haven't wrestled Brubaker yet. I haven't wrestled Jason Hades yet either. So there are some names up there I would still like to wrestle. I would hopefully one day like to get a big push in the big timers, but I know right now like some I know right now WWE is not the place to go to because they're letting people go. But like right now at this point, I'll take whatever I can get. But
All right.
because I'm actually because a friend of mine too who I also I also been training this woman wrestler too. Her name's Amora, but her wrestling name is Jalea, and she went down to the Dustin Rhodes Classic School, whatever. And I'm actually thinking about going down there, and whenever I get a chance, because like I probably in 10 years I'll be 40 years old, and I don't even know if any big companies are going to waste their time with me. But
Never say never, my
so, but
friend. And in the wrestling
never,
business.
yeah,
So But no, that's good to hear. It's a good thing you still have some goals to accomplish. And yeah, hopefully you get that big main event push and become world champion for CSW or other indie promotions.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, but before we go, because we're running out of time, big
Okay.
question. You are offered a contract from Impact Wrestling, AEW, WWE, NXT, hell, Ring of Honor, NWA. Save money, same contract. You know, you're free to do whatever, same schedule. Who will you go for?
I would have to honestly, I know I just said I wouldn't, but I would have to say WWE
WWE.
because I feel like the reason why I would say WWE is because I feel like they got more. They have more stuff, more high quality, better stuff. They know how to promote more. Like I don't get me wrong, I watch some of the AEW stuff. I mean, here's the thing, they have a lot of talent there, a lot of talent that they're really not using.
Right.
And like you bring in all these old time, you bring in all these wrestlers that are coming from WWE that they're releasing. What about all the superstars that are there now? Like
Right.
one of the superstars that are there now who I've been working with is Sky Blue. Actually, she just was working with us at CSW. But I mean, I would think because I actually the reason why I would like to go to WWE is because there are some I would actually love to compete in the Elimination Chamber. I would love to compete in the Royal
Facts.
Rumble. I would love to compete in the Hell in the Cell. I when I first started, I thought maybe I can have a shot at the Undertaker, but I know that's a long way off, and I know that probably would have been. But I mean, I would have to say WWE because I feel like WWE is more fan base, more tour, whatever. But
Plus, it was your goal as a
I know,
kid, right?
yeah.
It was
But I
never
feel
your
like
goal to
now,
be an AEW.
no, it's not. I mean, I would say AEW probably has more freedom
Right.
than WWE. But I mean, because I know AEW has partnership with Impact, Japan, all that and other stuff, so they can go everywhere. They can work everywhere. But like WWE, you can only do so much there. I mean, and there's some people that said WWE's like prison, but like I feel like some big names have come there, you know. So I mean, half the people that are on AEW had come from WWE. So yeah.
I feel
So
like
if I had
no, go ahead.
I just feel like WWE would probably be a good place for me.
Right.
But I mean, like I said before, I mean, I would have to obviously too. I wouldn't do it for the money, but whoever pays me more too, you know. So
True, true. So okay, because I'm an Impact Wrestling guy. So if WWE offers you a contract but it's for less money, and but Impact Wrestling, you know, gives you a contract and it's for a little bit more money, so you go with Impact for the money, or will you still go with WWE?
I probably would go with WWE because I mean, I love wrestling, and I mean, yeah, it's business, it's money wise. I mean, I mean, wrestlers are doing it to make money. Also, they're also doing it to love it. I mean, yeah, I would want to make money, but I mean, I love wrestling, and there's nothing that would change that too. And I've been watching a lot of the Impact stuff too. I mean, the Impact now is probably not as good as it was back then when it was TNA, not
That's true.
Impact. But like, because I feel like TNA back then it was probably more freedom too, like it is now. Because the Impact now, notice there is really no fans. They're not wrestling in front of fans and
Yeah,
stuff.
they are.
It's just like,
They're wrestling
are they
fans
really? Because
again.
I don't.
Yeah.
Are they? Because I saw a couple of shows where it looked like the crowd, it just like in the background looked black and stuff like that
Oh,
too. And I just like,
that
what's
was during the pandemics. They didn't have fans.
okay? So maybe I haven't
Yeah.
watched that recently, but I know Mickey James just did a was on at the Rumble with the belt. But but like I would have to still say I probably would have to say WWE still.
That's
So
fine. Yeah, because I would feel like now 10 years, who you are as a character right now, Chris Career Killer Miller, who you are as a character, I could see that for current Impact Wrestling. Back
mhm.
then, for TNA Wrestling, not so much, but I could see your character in WWE back then at that time.
And that's another thing too. And I really did think about that too. Is like the only thing bad about WWE is that they control you. They want you to be what they want. You don't get freedom there.
Right.
That's the only thing
But
too. So I don't know if
nothing's
I would.
wrong with that. And then play
Yeah,
based on because how I see your career, how you started, you played every character. You're not afraid to change it up. So I feel like WWE would be perfect because they'll give you a character like this is your character, and you'd be like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. I'll
yeah.
try my best. I feel like you'd
But
be
then
open
like it just
minded.
yeah, because I mean I would the thing is too like I know some people are not liking how it is, but like if you're not going to step up, if you're not going to give, like because Ali, I didn't mention that Ali has come to the school and helped work with us since she's been there in WWE.
Right.
But like if you're not going to give, if you're not going to put the effort in, Vince is not going to put the effort in you.
True.
So like he had told us before. He said like you can go to Vince and tell him everything, but he'll just sit there and stare at you. He'll just sit there and stare at you until you just got to keep going. You got to keep going at it.
Right.
Don't stop because if you stop, then you're getting uncomfortable. So, but like I just feel like I mean, like I said, AEW and all the other companies are probably more freedom than WWE is, but I feel like you get more exposure with WWE.
That's true.
Maybe that's just not me, but with my character, like you said, I think my character would have worked more with, like you said, Impact.
Right.
Because like now that I think
Unless you go
about it,
back
because
to
like
that, unless you go back to the Spider-Man gimmick, and then it'll work for
oh my
WWE right
god,
now.
shit, that character would go real fast out the door. So
Shoot.
man,
But all right.
so
Before we go, Miller, any last things you want to say? You want to, give yourself a shout out, promote yourself, anything else you want to say before we go?
yeah, I just want to tell everybody that if you're obviously watching this broadcast, I ain't done. I'm gonna wrestle until I can no longer wrestle. I'm gonna when I'm ready to step it up. I'm gonna. That's my call because I feel like I'm gonna do this until I can no longer do this. I mean, I'm probably not the best shape like everybody else, but I can keep moving. And one of the high veterans last night said, for a big guy, you can still move very agile. So I'm gonna keep doing this as long as I can. I'm gonna wrestle everybody else. Like if all the younger guys want to learn something from me, yeah, please by all means, CSW Academy is definitely the best place to come to for training. Steve Boz is one of the best trainers I've ever known. I've known the guy for 10 years now. Him and Willie Richardson have been my mentors, whatever. Those are the guys I learned from. And I think that, like I said, CSW is the best place to come to. So,
And that's not a lie. That's facts.
mhm.
Shout out to Steve Boz and Willie Richardson. Shout out to Doug Simmons as well. So
Oh yeah, Doug Simmons, yeah.
but yeah, where can people, if people want to book you or find you, where can they find you?
Just on Facebook, I'm Chris Miller. I have I have a Chris Miller Instagram too, but it's just called the Career Killer. Whatever. I have two different accounts, whatever. So like, if you guys want to reach out for me, those are the best pages to get me.
All right,
So
put the link down in the description as well.
yeah,
All right. Well, Chris, the career killer. Oh my gosh, killer Miller.
the Career Killer Miller.
Jeez, I botched that. But anyways, thank you for
Yeah,
your time, man. I appreciate it. It was nice catching up. I'm glad
no
that
problem, man.
glad you're
It's been a
still
long time.
in. It has been a long time. We got to go out and
Yeah,
get a couple drinks or something. Call up Colin
yeah,
Smith. So if you're watching this, Colin,
yeah,
we miss you.
yeah, Colin.
So but yeah, thank you for again, and hopefully for another, you continue wrestling for another 10 to 20 years, man. So
Yeah.
happy 10-year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
no problem. So once again, thank you again. And that was Chris, the Career Killer Miller. And that will be it for this episode. Till next time, we are out. Doo-doo-doo.
Yay!